So, all right, guys, I appreciate everybody who made time to be here. First of all, really appreciate you guys being here. I know there's quite a few people who are going to have to catch this on the replay. But you guys are an exemplary bunch and a group of 125,000 agents. There's a very small percentage that want to learn, grow, and actually invest in themselves. And I could tell you right now, as a entrepreneur for almost 20 years, that is 100% of the reason why 90% of people fail out of this industry is that a lot of them should have never gotten in the industry in the first place. Being an entrepreneur is not easy. It's just not something that comes naturally to people. It's a do or die, fight or flight response every minute of your day to decide if you get to eat dinner tonight or not. And after a little while, you get comfortable and you've got the residual income coming in. But anybody who believes that, your first year as any type of entrepreneur, you're going to make crazy money. I've got a very fucking rude awakening for you. And I'm sorry, I curse like a sailor. Welcome to Brandon's show. It's just not the reality of the situation. That being said, I'm going to share my screen with you guys. And hope you can see our presentation here. So I'm gonna make this short and sweet and give you guys a little bit of a synopsis of my background. So I started a very weird way. I started in politics, actually. I was the youngest person ever appointed to a political party executive committee in history. I was just shy of my 16th birthday. Way younger than you're allowed to vote. I was influencing the vote. Ran one of the most effective county parties in a swing state, and I got into digital marketing because of that. I originally started political marketing, and then I decided that I wanted to actually eat and be able to make money more than every 4 years and more than just every, September, October, and November. Got into digital marketing, started a company that was called Accelerated Social that got acquired by Facebook and became the Accelerated Boost button. So since then, I have been lecturing on the Facebook algorithm at digital marketing conferences throughout the United States. Always knew I wanted to get into finance, studied finance at Harvard. I'm sorry, what was that? So studied finance and then was basically told getting into insurance is the best way to get into finance. Ended up falling in love with insurance, and fast forward, you guys see where that went. So we're going to take this one step at a time here. What I want you guys to get out of this training. First of all, this is not a $10,000 mastermind that's going to absolutely change the world for you guys. It's simple solutions. People really act like there's some horribly complex way to make money in life insurance. And I got to tell you, there's not. This is way more simpler than people want to make it out to be. I was on the phone yesterday with a guy who does a $5,000 IUL training. I know guys that do $10,000 trainings. Listen, there's not a magic sauce, a magic recipe. My cat's behind me, but I'm going to tell you right now, there's a lot of different ways to skin the cat. And they all come down to work ethic, knowing your product, and having the product in the first place. If you're an agent and not a broker, you're probably going to be a little bit offended by some of this stuff. If you're a Primerica agent, you're going to have a hit out on me by the end of this training. I'm sorry, that's the way it is. I live in the real world where I tell you the products effing suck and I get to replace them all day. And now I'm going to teach 100 people how to do the same damn thing. The other thing that I really want you guys to take away from this, I don't know if you all know this, me running that group, if you can't tell, I'm running ragged. People think I'm an asshole. I gotta tell you, I'm not an asshole, but I am the living definition of the "I'm tired, bro" like meme. Um, I've made it a personal mission to try to clean up the industry and to clean up so many of the problems that we've seen. I put vetting standards in place. I say, hey, you can't lie about being a seven-figure earner anymore in this group because people rely on you. People get recruited based off that, and then they find out that they're getting really effing disappointed. I actually had a guy come in that group, claim he was 4 years into the industry. He made $1 million in his fourth year. He made six figures his first year. And he didn't think that I was going to look up his damn license and find out he'd only been licensed for 3 damn months. That's called Primerica math because the math ain't never math in there. 3 months he was licensed. Now, granted, he was featured on their website as a top earner. I don't know how much he made, but what I do know is him and his wife were both featured as like the team. So I Googled them and found the Section 8 apartment housing that they lived in together. And I really had to ask, how's that math make sense? Because you're either committing fraud
Welcome to New Jersey.
or, lying about what you're doing. On both ends, it's fraud, but one of which is a federal crime and the other one is unfortunately commonplace in the insurance industry. The other thing is, I think a lot of people don't realize like the free benefits that I put together for this group and how exactly they affect you with living insured and so on and so forth. So I hope when you guys walk away from this, I want to see 100 people who understand. I have put together truly some of the greatest things that you could have as an agent in this industry. That living insured is a ridiculously awesome program that, quite frankly, it cost me over six figures to put it together for y'all. And that's not touching what I've lost in revenue because I've been focusing on running the group and not focusing on personal production. Because again, we're going to get to a point where I show you how to do seven figures in personal production. So our first phase is talking about self-branding and why I say you should never hitch your horse to your IMO. And again, this goes back to living insured. You have a free living insured landing page. You can upgrade it for $10 a month. You can upgrade it for less than $10 a day at the maximum level, which includes marketing. That's the simple solution. And it's a small fire of what you're doing, but you need to focus on branding yourself as, Brandon Kovach, insurance broker, not Brandon Kovach of Cornerstone Capital, not Brandon Kovach of every IMO out there, whatever. Because guess what? I might not stay where I'm at. Now, grant I own Cornerstone. I'm always going to be a Cornerstone, but I'm talking for other people specifically. I got to tell you, you might think you have the greatest thing in the industry right now. And I hope that you firmly believe that, but it might not always be that way throughout your career. You need people to know you by your name, not you and your brand, not the insurance company. I don't care if you're at Primerica, Experior, whatever the hell company you're at. Make yourself an insurance broker and also teach people what that means. Because when somebody comes to me and they say, yeah, you sell insurance, and I say, yeah, I'm a broker. And they said, well, what's that mean? And I'm like, that means I work for you, not for an insurance company. I could run quotes through, X number of companies and make sure I'm doing what's best for you. Here's the thing, make your Facebook and social media pages and make them professional. I'm not joking. On a daily basis, I admit people into that group who, their Facebook names are just absolutely silly. Nobody could trust you as a financial professional when your Facebook name looks like you sell drugs. And be honest with you, nobody could trust you as a financial professional when you do sell drugs. I have actually and literally seen somebody's public story of them announcing that they had crystal meth. And their Facebook post went from selling crystal meth to trying to get you to talk about your retirement with them. This is not a joke, folks. This is the reality of the industry that we live in, and a failure of this industry because they will accept anybody who could fog a mirror. But I promise you, if you paint yourself as a professional and you become a professional, you're going to get paid like a professional. There's a reason why 90% of people fail out of this industry. I don't want to see it be a single one of you on this training. And the reason is because 90% of them had no business getting into it in the first place. And that's why out of a group of 125,000 agents, with 86,000 of them being active in the last 30 days, less than 200 people are on this training. So your Facebook, your social pages, make it whatever. If you're an agent somewhere, say that. If you're a broker, say that. Get your living insured pages, because one thing that I could tell you is people ask very often in the group, you know, I'm licensed in multiple states. How do I get people to find me in these states? Because Google will only let me list my local community. Oh, I know that's a problem. I designed Living Insured to fix that problem for you. We want people to be able to find you when they're looking in Colorado, even though you're a resident of Ohio, but you're licensed in Colorado. That's the whole point of what we built in the SEO or search engine optimization concept behind having those links that have those keywords of those target areas built in. Now, of course, your local community is going to be the first place where they find you based on this reviews. And once again, not to totally toot my own horn, we have a review generator coming to this group, because everything I do for this group, if you go on livinginsured.org/pros, you're going to find, you know, lead vendors who have given us discounts that nobody else is able to get. When you sign up to join our team at Legal Shield, we offer something that no other IMO offers. We have a better deal and a better contract, because again, that group is the size of 5 of the biggest IMOs combined. And I utilize that, and I use that to get you guys the best deal. But I can only lead the horse to water. I can't make it drink. Reviews. They are absolutely gasoline, because whenever somebody is actually looking for insurance, that is the hottest lead you could find. When somebody says, oh, shoot, my dad died, I couldn't afford to bury mom, I want to make sure my kids aren't in that situation, I'm going to look up a life insurance agent. They're going to Google. And the number one way that you're going to come up on Google sorry, just checking the chat real quick. But the number one way that you're going to come up on Google is based on reviews. So we put together a review generator that will allow you to send texts and emails to your existing clients, your former book of business, and say, hey, leave me a review. On top of that, I've got something called marketing incentives. I actually just acquired a marketing incentives company. If you wanted to go pay for this by yourself, you would pay 4 times as much money. But you're going to be able to come in and say, hey, look, you leave me this review, I'm going to send you a $100 restaurant gift card. Who's not going to take a couple minutes to leave that review? But here's where it's a superpower, is they can fill out that review, and they're not just leaving a review on Google. They can click and leave it on Google, Yelp, Facebook, 2,500, however many places that you have a listing that they can leave that review. They can click and leave that same review in one click on multiple different places. So one of the things that we need to go over very quickly, and I'm not trying to recruit anybody, but hey, if you want to come work with me, we'll talk. How to tell or avoid a shitty IMO or upline. Number 1, do you own your book of business from day one? If you don't, get the fuck out of there. And you could be as mad at me for saying that as you want. Tell your CEO of their IMO to call me. They've all got my number, I promise you. But their excuse, their logic is, and I've heard this from people at several 3-letter agencies, is if you don't have enough residual income, what does it matter if you own it, because it's not worth anything? Guess what? Every freaking person you sell was worth something. We are in this industry because we believe your life has value. That's what we're selling, is your life has value. Let's figure out the value that you bring to your life. If you don't own your book from day one and it's not in writing, you don't own your book. Do not go to a company that you don't own your book of business from day one. I have seen IMOs that you don't own your book of business until you hit, XY level. That's over 6 figures a year, which means 99% of people who ever sign up there won't own their book of business. But what scares the living shit out of me is they will turn around and sell your book of business as leads to the new agents they bring in. And it is a constant cycle. And that's called churning. It's unethical, it's illegal, and it's commonplace in this industry. That's rule number 1. If you don't own your book of business from day one, get out of there. And I've got teams at places where people don't own their book of business from day one. And I'm saying this, and I might be a little hypocrite for it. What I'm saying is, if you're stupid enough to do that, that's on you. I'm hoping that some of these CEOs call me and say, you know what? Why the hell don't we change that in our contract? Because again, it's not worth anything to me. And that's true. If you're not building a solid book of business, you can't sell it for anything. So what does it matter? And here's why. They know that 90% of people are going to fail. They're going to eat your residuals. They're going to own your residuals. And they don't care if you succeed or fail. That's why they're not investing in you. I don't believe in that. But again, you have to remember, I founded the only nonprofit IMO in the entire industry. So I definitely have an entirely different mindset than most. Major issue. Number 2, at every one of these IMOs, I don't care if you own your book of business or not, there are people who are bigwigs. They are the quote unquote man on stage. Every single agent who works under me at my personal agency makes 6 figures a year. Every single one. Granted, I am very, very diligent in who I recruit. I don't recruit newbies there. They were coming in making $50K a year, and I taught them how to double it. But if they're not making at least 6 figures a year, I'm full shit. Nobody's going to do that their first year. Every single one of my agents is at least 3 years in. But like I said, I have teams at almost every company in this industry. I'm the only guy that I know that's allowed to actually do that. So that also means I get to see all of these companies for what they actually are from the inside out. I see people looking up to people that say, oh, I've got 1,000 agents under me and I make $1 million a year. Motherfucker, you'd better. You got 1,000 agents under you. You ought to be making $10 million a year. Let's do some basic math. So right here, do the basic math. I have a friend, and I'm not going to name names, but let's do this math. I know for a fact that they have 800 agents and they just hit $1 million a year. So 800 agents, sorry, $1 million a year, divided by 800 agents is $1,250 averaged for every one of those agents annually. So that means if I divide that number by 12, their average agent is not making literally $1 million a year divided by 800 agents is $1,250. You divide that by 12 months, their average agent is making $104 a month. Granted, it takes a lot to be able to recruit 800 agents. But my question is not just can you recruit them, can you get them to sign up? Can you build them? Can you develop them? Can you make them make money? Because $100 a month, no, you can go DoorDash and make that in a day. And I'm not shitting you. You can make that in a day DoorDash. Why are you selling insurance? Number one. Number two, if you only want to make an extra $100 a month, you have no business in the financial services industry. None. Absolutely none. I'm not saying this has to be a full-time gig for everybody, but it needs to be something you take seriously because you're dealing with people's hard-earned money. And you're dealing with their family, their livelihood, and multiple generations of their family. And if you don't take that seriously and you just want to make an extra $500 a month, go sell Mary Kay. Ask for proof. I already told you about the guy who lived in Section 8 housing, was licensed for 3 months. Never be afraid to ask for proof from your IMOs and uplines. That's why I have a 7-figure earner badge in the group. You know how many people have claimed they make $1 million a year? And I called them out and they can't even figure out how to make the math make $1 million a year. I had a woman who made 70K arguing with me that she was on her way to make $1 million a year because she made 70K in 3 months. I got to tell you, 70K in 3 months, not bad, but honey, you're not a millionaire. Don't you dare lie and say that you are. And you should be proud that you made 70K in 3 months. You're doing better than 80% of most agents. So why do you have to lie and exaggerate? But boy, I'm going to call it out. And then the last thing as a tip is get it in writing. I know a lot of people who think they own their book, and I say, what does your contract say? And they say, oh, I'm at FFL. We didn't sign any contracts. You don't own shit if you didn't sign a contract. Contracts protect the company as much as they protect you. Get it in writing. If your contract does not say you own your book of business, you don't own your book of business. And nobody can help you if you didn't sign a contract. It was a great marketing ploy for a long time. We don't make you sign a contract. I want to sign a contract because I want to know what you're promising me. And if you're at one of those agencies that you didn't sign a contract, you better get one signed right now. Or you better figure out if you own your book of business. Because the more you invest in them, the less they're going to invest in you. Because they could take it all from you. They have no incentive to take care of you. All right, guys, this is the magic of how to use the cheapest leads in the industry. These are paid leads, by the way. These are the cheapest paid leads, not the cheapest leads that you can go out and get. So, fun announcement. We are going to launch our own leads for sale in the group. Yes, we have lead vendors that we've partnered with. Full disclosure, I think they all suck. Sorry. I'm going to teach you how to run your own ads. If you want to buy leads that somebody else ran, you should buy them from our group. And I'm going to teach you why. But when it comes to the cheapest leads in the industry, they're what are called T65s, turning 65. We're going to sell them to you for a quarter a lead. You want 100 of them, it's $25. These are cold. These are cold leads. You got to warm them up. $125 will get you 500 leads. These people have not reached out. They don't want life insurance. But here's the thing. I'm writing a book called The Art of Money. That there are 3 stages of money in life. The accumulation phase, the retirement phase, and the transfer phase. Hence the art of money. T65s, turning 65, they're heading into the retirement phase. And at every one of those 3 phases, you need to think about money. 100% different than you did in the last phase. In the accumulation phase, you're high risk, or as much risk as you could take on. You're buying real estate, you're building everything, you're putting money in your 401k, you're investing everywhere you can invest. But in the retirement phase, you're done taking on that risk. We want to mitigate those risks. We want to pull away from you having that risk. And we don't want you to lose it all and end up having to eat cat food in retirement. So this is a superpower. Annuities. It's where the money's at. This is where you make money. I'm going to show you why. Everybody that you sit with, the average middle-class American has about $2 million in a 401k or IRA. You can roll that 401k or IRA into an annuity and protect them. This comes back to that personal branding aspect. You need to brand yourself as a retirement protection consultant, retirement protection specialist, retirement protection trainer, and teach them, because they don't know this. They were programmed for the accumulation phase of life. They went to school and were taught, you go to school, you go to college, you get a job, you put money in your 401k, you pay into Social Security, you pay taxes, you hope to retire after 30 years. And in the meantime, you have 1.5 kids. You were programmed your entire life to be a good employee. You weren't programmed to retire. They don't worry about that when you're a kid. They never teach you that. There's a reason you graduate high school not knowing how to pay your taxes. It's all systemic, I should say. So annuities, here's a perfect example. Everybody that you could sit with, and again, we're talking 25 cents per person leads. I don't care if you call them. I don't care if you send mailers. I don't care how you get to them, but you could bulk buy. So again, the bigger net that you cast, the more fish you're going to catch. And not every fish that you catch, if you're trying to catch, it's going to be a swordfish. But you're going to catch a lot of fish. And you might catch the swordfish. You might catch a lot of, I don't know, tarpons or whatever smaller fish there are. But when you're casting this wide net, you know, you're dealing with this, and it's this simple. The average American has $2 million in their retirement. That is average middle class. You do an annuity rollover at an average rate of 6%, you're going to make $120,000 on that. So how do you get to 7 figures doing that? Well, you find 9 of those a year. You find 9 $2 million IRA rollovers a year. You're going to hit $1,080,000 averaged. A lot of people are not comfortable selling annuities. They don't feel they know enough. And that's why this tip is right here. I was once like you. Went to Tracy. Again, use the group. Went to Tracy Lounsbury. Tracy runs Annuity Giants. And I said, Tracy, I don't know enough about annuities, but I know this is where the money's at. And he said, hey, send them to me. We'll go 50-50. I've got this program in place. So there you go. Now, on the flip side, you're taking 120 grand, turning it into 60 grand. But I got to tell you, I remember a day when I dreamt of making 60 grand in a year. I'm never going to cry about making 60 grand in a month. And yes, these do take about a month to process, to roll over, you know, to get that situation taken care of. But again, you're taking a 25-cent lead and teaching them how to protect their retirement and finding 6 figures. 6 figures with every one of them. And
What?
I've got pre-made trainings and sales.
For what?
The drain. What do you listen to?
It's a course I signed up for, so I have to listen to it.
For what?
Yeah, please mute yourself.
Yeah, guys, I don't know how to mute all of you, but thank you. And then
Ah,
this one,
aspetta un attimo qua.
guys, please. So how to sell to hundreds of people at once, and this is what I do. So there's two ways of doing this, in my opinion. There's three best practices to doing this. Number one is doing webinars. Saying, okay, we're going to do a retirement protection webinar. Putting together a simple slideshow like this, explaining the values of annuities, how you take the market risk out, but you guarantee, a threshold. By the way, a required minimum distribution in your 401k is about 4%. If you could find somebody an annuity guaranteeing 5 or 6, they're actually going to make more money. So if I could promise you that you have more money in retirement, that you can never run out of money, unlike in your 401k or IRA, and if the stock market takes a downturn, you're not shit out of luck. Only a moron is not buying this product from me. Those are your 3 samples right there. You can make more money. You can never run out of it. And it's not tied to the stock market. If the market goes down, you're not shit out of luck. I had insurance clients who had to unretire because their stocks took a 20% dip. Their 401k took a 20% dip in 2021. So webinars, you could promote for a month that you're going to do a training webinar, or do what I recommend doing, which is joining a country club. Join a country club. Every couple weeks, send out a mailer to 500 plus people, make them RSVP. Spend a little bit of money on yourself. Offer do hors d'oeuvres and coffee. Come give them this presentation. Get 100 people in the room and give a presentation. Webinars are free. Country clubs are very expensive, but let me tell you the secret that lies in the middle. Join your local chamber of commerce. Most chambers of commerce have a meeting room that they'll let you use. Send that mailer, invite people to the Chamber of Commerce building. It looks like an event that was put on by the Chamber of Commerce. Go to Dunkin' Donuts and get a couple things of coffee, a couple trays of donuts, spend $200, get 50 people in a room and give that presentation. Instead of having to go one by one and make that hard sale, you're making that presentation to 50, 100, 300, 500 people at a time. And you can do that with anything, whether it's infinite banking concept, mortgage protection, and then of course, retirement protection. But retirement protection is the 7-figure blueprint. That is where the money is at. And if you're not confident in giving this presentation, then go to
your internet fell. Yep.
I'm sorry, what was that? So if you're not confident in giving that presentation, go to your upline, have them make the presentation for you. If that's a problem for them to do that, you need to find a new upline or find a new company. Have them make sales presentations for you that you can literally click play and then sell. Now you need to be able to answer questions. You need to know your products. Product knowledge, however, comes from experience and time. Do not ever feel bad if you don't have the product knowledge. That's what your upline is supposed to be doing for you. Like that, I mean, that's the name of the game, honestly, is if I'm your upline, I should be investing in you. It's just common sense. So if they're not willing to give you those things, or even worse, hey, if your upline recruited you before they were freaking licensed, they don't know what the hell they're doing. You're an idiot for joining them. they're an idiot for trying to recruit you. The entire company you're at is a scam, and you need to figure something else out. I'm sorry, but I tell it like it is 100% of the time. If you can't get your upline to make you this presentation, you better find a new upline, because you're not getting anything out of them and they're getting a hell of a commission on you. So a couple things that we talked about as far as resources that were only available because of my leading that group. Number one is the branding of Living Insured pages. You have a free landing page that replaces websites. I don't necessarily think it replaces websites, but if you don't have the means to buy or build a website, which by the way, we have a resource coming for that too, this is free. Get your landing page. Spend the $10 a month if that's the least you can invest in yourself. But y'all already spent $100 to be here, so I don't think that's the problem. And then leads. I'm sorry, but the more leads you have, the more success you're going to have. But paying somebody else to give you the leads that they generated that are already aged is stupid. That's why I'm going to teach you how to generate your own leads. Because why are you paying $30, $40 for a lead that costs $5 or $6 to generate by yourself? So how to tell bullshit marketing gurus. Some telltale signs. Number one, I have taken 40,000 people out of the group. Why? Because they're DMing people. How are you telling me that you could run leads to generate sales for me? You can't run leads to bring people in for yourself. You got to cold message me. Come on. Make that one make sense. Number one. Number two, when I took over that group, there was a woman who actually did marketing, who was running it before me. She kicked me out because I called her out for the bullshit that she was spewing. If somebody is trying to tell you that they need your password to log in and manage your page, they're not following Facebook's guidelines. They're full of shit. An actual person who knows how to market is going to use a business professional platform from Facebook that I'm going to give you guys next. They're going to request access to your page that you can cut off at any time. Never, ever give somebody else your password. Ever. It happens all the time. It is ridiculous. It doesn't have to happen. And it's against Facebook's guidelines. It could actually get you kicked out of Facebook because they see that somebody in Nairobi signed into your Facebook account. But never deal with somebody who DM'd you. There's a reason that we block those people immediately. Listen, if they could run lead ads, they'd run leads for themselves, don't you think? Make that make sense. Those are your two biggest red flags. And in the digital marketing space where I've been for over 15 years, let me tell you, there's more red flags than North Korea. But those are your two big ones. If they want your password and they DM'd you, get the hell away from them and just block them. It's not worth your time. And then send them to me, so I block them from the group, so I don't, so everybody else doesn't have to deal with them either. But run away from those people, for the love of God. What's better than cheap leads? Free leads. I got to tell you, as a matter of fact, these might be the most expensive leads you're ever going to get. But they're guaranteed sales. I've done very, very well partnering with mortgage loan officers and realtors, and I'm going to tell you how to do that. People ask me all the time, how do you get them to do that? Well, number one, you have to build a relationship with them. And if you aren't going to build a relationship with them, then you better woo them. It's like chasing a beautiful woman. Your tip right here is don't be desperate. If you see a guy, ladies, you could chime in here, but if you see a guy on Facebook, social media, at the bar, whatever, and he seems desperate, are you attracted to him in any way, shape, or form? That guy who likes every cute woman's pictures is never going to pick up a cute woman. You got to hone in on one, focus a little bit, make her feel like she's the center of your universe. And then you might just woo her. build that relationship. It's the same concept. So I'm going to tell you exactly how I get mortgage loan officers to partner with me. And I partner with the biggest ones in my state. So I took them on a date. I hit them up and I actually used this exact same force of persuasion to pick up a woman that I was once engaged to. And I said, look, obviously really interested in doing business with you, or a woman, you say, and going out with you. Let me take you out one night. We're going to go to, in my case, it was Ken Stewart's. It's a high-end steakhouse, we're going to go to a high-end steakhouse. I'm going to buy you dinner. Best case scenario, you walk away in love with me and we're doing business together. Worst case scenario, you had a really good steak dinner on me. Right? Who's going to turn that down? I'm about to buy you a $200 steak dinner. You're coming. And again, not acting desperate. I say, okay, look, I'm only free Thursday night. I'm not free every night this week. My availability is limited. You want to make yourself scarce. Just like if a woman approaches you at a bar and she says, hey, you want to go out sometime? You don't say, yeah, I'll go out with you absolutely anytime, babe. I'll make time for you anytime. Because she's turning around. Say, yeah, I think I could fit you in next Friday. I don't have anything going on that night. Don't be desperate, ever. Don't be desperate with your clients. Don't be desperate with people you're trying to partner with. Certainly don't be desperate if you're trying to pick up women. I'm not trying to be crass, sexist, whatever. I'm just telling you, this is what works. It's what works. Desperate people also do desperate things. If you want to be successful, you have to move out of a point of desperation, whatever that takes. And if you're desperate and insurance is not doing it for you, there is no shame in going back to a 9-to-5 until you get insurance going where it needs to be. My marketing company did not turn a profit the first 3 years. In year 4, it got acquired by Facebook. A normal functioning human being would have given up on something that was not turning a profit for 3 years. That's not how entrepreneurs think. That's not how we're wired. And that's the difference between the people who make it and don't in the insurance industry, as well as in every other facet of life. So back to mortgage loan officers and realtors. I say, hey, I'm going to take you out. I get them out. And I come prepared with the math. I say, look, the average home mortgage in America is this. We're going to call it $250K. I already know that you make this percent in commission. And by the way, realtors just got their commissions cut this year. They're not making what they used to. They're getting more and more, quote unquote, desperate. Even the best functioning realtors are no longer stuck making 6% guaranteed. They're now negotiating those rates. So they need to make some money because they got used to spending the money they were making. It's a great partnership. Say, hey, look, I know that you do, how many loans do you sell a month, bro? Oh, I do about 200 a month. All right, great. Now imagine if I made you an extra $500 on every one of those. I can make you an extra 120 grand a year. Oh, bro, how do I do that? Well, I'm going to sell them a mortgage protection policy. But what's in it for you? Because at least in my state and in most states, I can't give you a referral or I can't give you a commission. I can only give you a referral fee. And I'm not going to give you a referral fee if, there's no guarantee that they're going to buy from me. So we're going to partner up. I'm going to make you get your insurance license. If your company won't let you get your insurance license, you better make your wife get her insurance license. Make your secretary get your insurance license. Make somebody connected to you get their insurance license so this commission can be paid into your LLC, corporation, however you're structured. You're going to give me that lead. And all I need is their name, phone number. If you want to set the appointment, that's even better. Set an appointment with my mortgage protection specialist when you sell that lead. But if you're not willing to do that, tell me how much money they were approved for. Because when I sit down with them, this is exactly what I do. It's reverse psychology. Oh, XYZ mortgage loan officer, we're going to call him David. David said, you were approved for $300,000 mortgage. So here's my offer. I can get you $40 a month, we protect your mortgage here. For $120 a month, we'll protect your mortgage, but this is an ROP term. You get all your money back on the back end. For $160 a month, here's what an IUL looks like. Let me explain what an IUL is to you. Give them the options. Not only are they almost always going to go with the ROP term when you explain that, if you have that in your arsenal, but no matter what, if they're not willing to spend any money with you, then you say, well, you know what? If you can't afford $40 a month, maybe you ought to go look at a $250,000 house. Maybe I ought to tell David that you're overextended. Let me tell you, they did a psychological study and showed that people will buy a house that costs more money, even if they looked at another house that costs 20% less that they liked more, for the sake of wanting to have the more expensive house, the keeping up with the Joneses philosophy. You could actually like a house more, but you want to get, they believe, oh no, I was approved for $300,000. I deserve a $300,000 house. I worked my ass off for that $300,000 house. I'm going to get as close to that as I could tiptoe that line. And I'm going to be sleeping on a blow up mattress for 6 years, but I'm going to get that $300,000 house. So when I tell them, maybe you're overextended if you can't afford $40 a month, guess what they're doing? They're begging me to buy it. Begging. No. Don't call David. We can afford the $300,000. I can give you a $40 a month. I'll pay the whole year right now. It's game over. It's game over. And again, this is a pyramid of success. If you built your base on Medicare agents, you built a base on annuities, and then you moved into all these mortgage protection sales, because they're not guaranteed. Housing market takes a dip. People aren't always buying homes. So I'll tell you what, people are always turning 65. So if you're looking at building a pyramid of success, your base should be your strongest point. Make that annuities, make that retirement protection. Your next is your whole life, your final expense, your mortgage protection. And then the top of your pyramid is going to be the unicorns that you find once in a while come up and say, hey, I want to do an infinite bank. I got $5 million lying around. I want to pour into this. You can't count on that money at the top of your pyramid. It happens once in a while and you got lucky. But as long as you live within the means of what your base is providing for you and you build a strong foundation, you're going to be in the 10% of agents who make it 3 years in this industry. There's no excuse to not make it other than that you did not have proper leadership telling you those things. Because I got to tell you, some of the gurus in our group are bouncing a $10 a month living insured page, and I'm not shitting you. People are paying for trainings can't afford a $10 a month living insured page sometimes because they're spending. They don't have the base. They don't have the money. I mean, it's pathetic, but that is the reality of the situation. I'm not going to call anybody out for it, but what I'm telling you is be very careful and look out for number one and be careful not to step in number two. Worry about building your own business, because a lot of people you look up to, including your own uplines, don't know what they're doing. They don't. 90% of people in this industry fail. And it's a lot of these companies, they are MLMs, which means they can only eat if they recruited somebody. They don't know how to make 7 figures a year on their own pen. Again, going back to the example earlier of, 800 agents making $1 million. I know a guy who does not make $1 million. He has 1,500 agents. Am I saying he's a schmuck? Absolutely the fuck not. Recruiting 1,500 agents, building a team like that does not come easy, but is he a builder of agents? No. Because if he had 1,500 agents that knew how to make $100,000 a year, holy shit, the guy's Rolls Royce collection would be insane. Because what else do you do when you have that type of money coming in? Because I'm not shitting. If you have 1,000 agents making $100,000 a year, that is $100 million a year. If that guy can get every one of his agents to make 6 figures, he would make $100 million a year. Actually, if he can get two-thirds of his agents there, $100 million a year. This is why it's so important who you look up to, because again, I just showed you how to make 120 grand in one sale. 120 grand in one sale. You think you can't find one retiree a year that you could talk into rolling their retirement over? So you make 120 grand. All you need to do is find one a year, and you would be more successful than some of the biggest names at these IMOs. But imagine if you're a builder and you could build 100 people who make $100,000 a year, 500 people who make $100,000 a year. Because I got to tell you, that's what I'm trying to do. And that's why I'm putting this training on. I want to be the guy that builds people like that. Real quick. How much do I split the MLO on a policy that are licensed to where they are incentivized to refer you from the mortgage protection policies? We go 50-50, man. Absolutely 50-50. That is the only way I get these guys to partner with me, because guess what? I didn't build a relationship with them. They're not my brother-in-law. There has to be something in it for them. So when I say you don't have to do any work and we're going to split it 50-50, what that means is we're equal right now. We're equal partners. I see you equal with me. It's why King Arthur had a round table. Is everybody at that table, there was no head of the table. Make them your business partner. 50-50 split. Anything less than that, I'm going to take that mortgage loan officer out of your arsenal every chance I get. My team is going to recruit that person out of your arsenal every chance that we get. My baby girl. All right, so how to run your own marketing campaigns. Biggest tip, never use the boost button. How many people have gone on social media and clicked, boost this post? Again, I invented the accelerated boost. Never do it. You're going to go to a website. It's called business.facebook.com. Make a business account. Nobody really ever seems to know that this is a thing. Business.facebook.com. And when you're in business.facebook.com, and we're going to cover this a little bit more later, but when you're in business.facebook.com, you have so many more options of how to build your own landing pages, your own things. But we're going to have to focus on how to create a sales funnel next. So what is a sales funnel? This is the number one reason why people say, oh, these leads are bad when we talk about lead vendors in the Facebook group. And why I implemented vending for lead vendors, because when I took over that group, they were run by a company called TTC Leads. I had bought TTC Leads. They effing suck worse than any leads I'd ever used before. Why? Because their top of their funnel was a landing page that said free government sponsored death benefit, whatever it said, government regulated death benefit. It's what I call bait and switch leads. People signed up because they think the government is going to pay to bury them. They're not trying to buy life insurance. They're trying to cancel the life insurance they're paying on because they think the government's going to give them something for free. I'm calling bombs and chasing dimes, and I'm paying $30 a lead to do it. I don't allow bait and switch. Anybody, if you go on livinginsured.org/pros, any one of those preferred vendors never uses the word free, never uses the words government sponsored, government they don't involve the government because people think when they hear the word government, it's free. By the way, there's no such thing as free in government. I worked in politics for a long time. It really is called taxpayer funded. But let me tell you, the $300 that Social Security gives does not get you a match to burn your body, let alone actually cremate somebody. But that's what they think they're signing up for, is a free government death benefit so they can cancel their life insurance policy. And then I have to call and tell them, oh, Social Security will give you 300 or 600, whatever the hell it is. I don't know. I don't care. they'll give you this amount of money. But that's not going to be enough. So why don't we talk about, I'm an insurance agent. Let's talk about making sure you have enough. No. I want you to know that you're buying insurance when you come to me. I'm running an ad. It is a mortgage protection ad. It is a infinite banking insurance ad. It is a final expense ad, cover your final expenses. But you're calling me because you want to buy life insurance. And that's the whole point of a marketing funnel. The top of the funnel is what gets their attention. And the question is, how do you get their attention? So if you're running an ad campaign and it says, free government death benefit, click here to learn more, you're going to get the lowest common denominator of people who just want something for free. But if you run an ad, and I'm going to show you a couple really cool ones as we continue on throughout this training. If you run an ad that shows, I like one I have that has, people in a new house. And I took an average 30-year-old and I put a quote of $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 and what that policy would cost for a non-smoker. And then I put the final strip, based on 30-year-old non-smoker male at, this size. Say, hey, look, here's your mortgage protection. Protect your mortgage for $29 a month, whatever it might be. If I run, an infinite banking webinar, people love to learn, believe it or not. I know we live in a very uneducated society, but I'm telling you, people are not uneducated because they don't want to be. They're uneducated because, again, it's systemic that people don't want them to have knowledge. You go your entire life graduating high school without knowing how to pay your taxes. That is not because it wasn't designed that way. It was 100% designed that way. It's systemic, but people inherently want to learn and want to better themselves. I firmly believe that about people. I think a big part of the human condition is that we all universally, I don't care what your religion is, your background, which country you came from, which country you're living in, we all want better for our next generation. I don't think there's any person in the world outside of, true psychopaths who hold a newborn baby and don't say, I want to leave the world a better place for them. And if you disagree with me, maybe you disagree with me, call me naive. But what I do know is that these people all want to leave a better situation and they need to learn how to do that. And they're not going to learn that if we don't position ourselves as educators, first and foremost. Not agents, not salespeople, educators. So they go from attention to what draws their interest, and that's just it, is do you have a wife and kids? Did you recently buy a house? Are you ready for retirement? And that interest is exactly what you should be targeting for. If you're going to run an ad for, mortgage protection, target new homeowners, target newly engaged people, target people who are looking for engagement rings, target people who recently moved, people who've recently traveled. And we're going to go over all the areas that you could target for people. But if you're targeting, infinite banking concept, you need to target people who makes $50,000 a year and up. Sorry, but if you make less than $50,000 a year, you're struggling. You're not investing in anything. Not that the word investing in insurance should ever be used in the same sentence, but when it comes to infinite banking, people do see it as an investment. It replaces their savings. And if you're making less than $50K a year, chances are you're not saving very much. Because I don't know about you, but the last time I went to the grocery store for myself, I came out with $500 in bills, and I think I ate for a week. And then desire. This is the one that we have no control over. At the end of the day, really, is do they desire it? And yeah, you could play around with their psychological emotions, like I said about somebody who's in a mortgage and they got approved for 300 grand. And you say, well, maybe you should just get a $250,000 house because it doesn't seem you could really afford the $300,000. Yes, you're driving up the desire. And the more you educate, you could drive that desire. But at the end of the day, I have to tell you, people are going to buy or they're not going to buy. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your time. Move on to the next one. As long as you have a continuous flow of leads, which that is what a sales funnel is designed to do. is continuously draw in a ton of leads funneling into you. And then the action, of course, is that they bought. But if they don't have the desire, don't try to convince them. Don't waste your time. Just move on. Move on. Leave them a business card magnet, whatever, tell them, hey, reach out to me if you ever change your mind. That's it. I've got more people. Don't be desperate. I've got more people to talk to. I got people begging to do business with me. I'm out of here. Oh, you want to hem and haw all day? You want to go get quotes from 30 other people? Come back to me. Come back to me when you're ready to buy. And this one. How to turn $1,000 in Facebook ads into 50 Primerica replacement leads. Again, why funnels are so important. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be a hypocrite and break everything that I just said about our vetting standards. Of why I don't allow people to say free, but here's why. If you have a funnel that the top of your funnel, your interest segment is the words free, rather it be free coffee gift card, free whatever, if you do a financial needs analysis with me, you're going to get people who just want something for free. Here's what I do. And again, we have a marketing incentives company that you guys can get for a quarter of the cost of doing this by yourself. And I'm going to drop those links later. I run an ad campaign and I have replaced my team, not me personally. I've replaced a grand total of over 4,000 Primerica policies. Why? Number one, Primerica effing sucks. They absolutely effing suck. I have never once in over 4,000 policies not been able to replace one of their policies and cut the costs. I compare apples to apples though. So if you're a Primerica customer, you've been there for 5 years, I'm going to run a quote based on where you were at 5 years ago. You're 29 now. I want to compare apples to apples when you were, 24. I've actually cut some of their policies in more than half, sometimes even adding living benefits. But what I do is I run an ad campaign and it costs me less than $100 a month to be able to offer in case it ever came true, but it never once, not one time have I ever had to pay out on this. But I say, and I target people who like Primerica. And here's the beautiful thing. So when I owned Accelerated Social, I'm going to go off on a slight tangent, but this is the superpower between running your own ads. When I ran Accelerated Social, what accelerated our success was that we artificially drove engagement using chatbots way before chatbots were mainstream. So when we ran an ad campaign, we had a whole bunch of bots that would go and like that campaign. It would tell the algorithm, this is hot, you should put it in front of more people. And that's how we were driving a lower campaign strategy. So what you would do is whatever your top interest is, you're going to run that. And you could build chatbots, or I could help you build chatbots that engage. So you tell them, comment your favorite color, comment anything. And as people comment, that chatbot is going to drive them right into your Calendly link. It's going to drive them right into scheduling with you. It's going to give you all the information you need to come to that meeting with a quote ready to go of what you need to sell them. But what I do is my top of my funnel is, if you're a Primerica customer, Primerica customers, if we can't get you a better policy, we will send you and a partner on a 6 or 7 day, whatever the incentives, I think it's 7 day, on a 7-day cruise, all expenses paid. I run another one. If you're a Primerica customer and I can't get you a better policy, we're going to give you a $500 restaurant gift card. And I target people who like Primerica because, again, they, we all know how they recruit and who they sell to. I've had moms calling their kids, telling them, get the hell out of that company. This is bullshit. I can't believe this guy could sell me a policy. It's half the cost after he explained this to me. I've got moms that are ready to beat their sons with their purses and telling them, get the hell out of Primerica. I've replaced kids' moms' policies with this lead campaign. Their mom's like, fuck it, I'm going to spend $40 a month instead of $100 a month. My son needs to come work for you. And that's it. So top interest funnel is whatever that incentive. But again, I don't like using the word free But in this case, it's perfect. I'm not truly being a hypocrite. Why? Because these people already have to have a Primerica policy in place. You don't have to convince them they need life insurance. They've already bought life insurance. They know they need life insurance. All you have to do is show them the better way of what I call buy smart, invest the difference, not, buy smart and invest the Primerica is what I call it. When I show you that I can save you 50% more, and then I put that in a compound interest calculator, and I show you what that would look like if you would have stayed with Primerica, instead of putting that extra $50 a month into your investments, you're gone. You're gone. And that's not touching the 3% fees that Primerica charges you. But if I show you right off the bat, I can save you $50 a month or $100 a month on your term insurance, and then I show you what that looks like over the 30 years of your policy compounded by 8%, you're not even mad that you're not going on a cruise anymore because you just bought yourself a yacht. I'm not even shitting you. Average American, you've got an extra $50 a month that you put away for 30 years. That's $250,000. Easy. Easy. I just saved you $250,000. I'm your best friend. I'm your best friend. So that's how I do that. And you don't have to spend $1,000 on it, but I'm telling you, the more you spend, the more luck you'll have. And my personal favorite is, again, you're targeting people who like Primerica. So what happens is Primerica agents engage on that post and they comment on it. And that means all their friends and family, the only people they had that will ever buy off them, are seeing it for free. For free. I love it. They can comment all day. Oh, we got, and I'm like, no, you don't. No, you don't. I don't even argue with them. I just say, nope, 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 nope. And I let those people schedule that meeting. Period, point blank. Because when you're talking term policies, term policies with no living benefits, the only thing that counts is what I'm paying every month. Period, point blank, and they are not competitive. Now, if you are an agent somewhere that does not have a couple places you can run quotes through, this might not work for you as good as it works for me. But I literally, and I've run so many simulations, I've never not been able to replace a Primerica policy. It is just shooting fish in a barrel. It's honestly, it's too easy. It's too easy. And I'm telling you, you run $1,000 worth of Facebook ads and you get 50 policies. And this is assuming that your cost per acquisition is $20 per lead. I think as you season this and you get better at running your own ads, you can get 200 leads for $1,000. But I would rather under promise and over deliver than over promise and under deliver. So when I tell you you're going to get 50 Primerica replacement leads, you're going to get 50 Primerica replacement leads. And if you got a decent sized toolbox of a couple carriers that run term life quotes, you're going to replace 50 out of 50 of them if they show up. Your only question is going to be how many of them show up to that meeting. But if you've got a great top of the funnel and great incentive, they're all going to show up. Because if I got a $500 restaurant gift card for you, you're going to want to know. On top of that, you're going to want to know if you're spending too much money every month. Because the first bill people want to cut is their life insurance policy. They're never going to downgrade their car. They're never going to not have the newest iPhone. But they don't worry about their life insurance policy until they need it. And if they got to cut a bill, it's going to be the one that they don't have to worry about because it's somebody else's problem when they die. Sell or be sold. Overcoming objections so there's no such thing as a dead opportunity. Every single call that you make, every client you sit with, there are two salespeople on the phone. You're trying to sell them a product and they're trying to sell you on why they won't buy from you. That's it. So are you being sold or are you selling is the question. every single objection that they have, and I would like you guys to list a couple of objections for me. Unmute yourselves if you have to, but let's talk about some of these for real. Let's talk about objections and getting past this, because again, every single person that you talk to, and I'm telling you, 70% of Americans don't have life insurance, and the 30% that do probably don't have enough coverage, haven't looked at it in a long time, or have it through work, which is just as good as not having it at all. We have a huge, huge market. Can't afford it. Can't afford it. How do you know that if you won't let me tell you how much it costs? You don't know how much it costs, right? And as per example, when they say I can't afford it, well, I can't afford any other bills. Okay. And this goes back to product knowledge. You can't afford any other bills. How about we talk about your debt? Have you ever?
Oh, dumb fuck.
What's that? You can't afford it. Question is like, have you ever heard of debt-free life? Let's figure out, how much money that you're spending every month and figure out how to get you out of that cycle so you can afford it and you could have some wiggle room. I want to think about it. What's there to think about? The only reason they want to think about it is because they don't trust you. You have not built enough trust. And again, if you're a broker, you use that, you leverage that. Okay, have you heard the name Mutual of Omaha? They've been around for X hundred years. If you heard this company, what don't you trust? That's it. And I'll straight up tell them that. I hear people say, I want to think about it. What's there to think about? You're telling me you don't trust me. So what? Ask me some questions. What do you need to know about me? I'm too young. I don't need it. When you're young is the best time to buy it. It's going to be the cheapest it will ever be for you. And your health is not guaranteed. How many young people do you know that have had health scares? How many young people do you know that have died? How many young people do you know that X, Y, and Z's happened to? Why don't I just put my cash in a CD or a savings? And here's the perfect example, is that doesn't guarantee you anything. So those are two totally different types of products. What is your goal? First of all, you need to understand what their goal is. What is your goal? So you got to ask that question with the question. Why don't I put my cash in a CD or savings? Well, what's your goal? Because if you put it in a savings, you're earning 0.005% interest rate on it. But if you drop dead tomorrow and you put $100 in your savings account today, your family's trying to find $10,000 to bury you. Whereas if you put $100 into a life insurance policy today, your family's burying you with $10,000 and they got $40,000 in cash coming. The military is going to pay for it. Number one, who's going to bury you? Who's going to bury you? Have you ever seen the definition of cutting through the red tape? Can your family afford to bury you while they're waiting 6 months for the government death benefit to pay out? I already have a policy. Okay, great. Do you know if that policy is through work or do you have it personally? Okay, great. Who's the carrier? You know who the carrier is. 9 out of 10 times they don't already have a policy. They're full of shit. That's why they can't name the carrier. Do you know if your beneficiaries are per stirpes or per diem? Do you name your beneficiaries? Are they per stirpes or per diem? Oh, I have no idea what that means. Okay, well, we need to take a look at that policy. How long has it been since you put that policy in place? Has anything changed in your life? You should have an annual review. When was your last annual review on that policy? I'll save for my own funeral expenses. How much money are you saving right now per month, and when do you plan to die? How can you plan to die? How do any of us know what? I'll tell you, I used to live in a building that blew up yesterday. True story. Google Youngstown Chase Bank explosion. I used to live on like the second to the top floor of a building that The bank had a gas explosion in yesterday. Granted, I would have been fine in my place. Everybody upstairs lived. I would have had a heart attack. I'm not getting on a, you know, emergency fire escape with a fireman carrying me down from a burning building, man. I'm telling you, they'd have just found me. I'd have had a heart attack. True story. Could have happened to me just yesterday. On top of that, okay, great. You've already got life insurance. Do you have a will? Do you have a will and do you have a family trust? Do you have a Medicare protection trust for your assets? What happens if you go into a home? Do you have living benefits? Somebody said, let me talk to my spouse. You never put yourself in that situation in the first place. When I schedule an appointment, I always ask, is there any other decision maker that needs to be involved in this appointment? Period, point blank. You never sit on a one-legged stool. You don't give them the option, take that. If a husband says, I don't make decisions without my wife, okay, we're going to schedule that appointment when both of them were there. I don't know my banking info, or I don't want to give that over the phone. That is probably the most difficult one that you have to deal with. And again, this comes down to they don't trust you. So that's, for example, why you need to have a professional landing page, professional branding. So you can follow up, okay, I'm going to send you a business card, or you can call the carrier and set this up with me. We could three-way call the carrier together. So on and so forth. But what that really comes down to is they don't trust you as a person. They don't want to give their banking info because they don't trust you, which again is why you need to position yourself. And we need to treat this like we are financial advisors and fiduciaries, even though we're not technically held to that same standard. But you want people to trust you. So your presence on social media needs to be professional. Your presence in life needs to be professional. The way you go about life needs to look like you could be trusted with money. I don't know my banking info. There's no excuse for that, man. Pull up your phone app. We'll find it. Go get your checkbook. We'll find it. Like, there's no excuse for that. There's really not. You don't have checks. You don't have starter checks, whatever. Okay, great. You know what? I'll straight up tell them, I'm gonna set an appointment for you at the bank. What time works for you Monday? I'll call the bank, be like, hey, they need to come and get some starter checks. I've had that happen before because a lot of young people don't have checks. They actually don't know their stuff. But hey, go in the phone app and find your bank account info. It's always there. It's always there. Don't want to give that over the phone is 100% because they don't trust you. That's it. And then again, that goes back to call them out on it. I'm never afraid to say, hey, listen, it sounds like you don't trust me. What can I do to fix that? I can send you some personal information. I could send you, here's a link to my professional profile. I could send you my state license, licensed, insured, bonded. I'm a professional. Here's my NPN number. But they don't trust you is what it comes down to. But again, even if you do find somebody miraculously who, sat last year and they've got everything covered, they really, really do. They've got a probate attorney that handled everything for them. There's always an ancillary product that you're going to find if you know your products well and you've got great ancillaries. Rather that's debt relief, rather that's student loan relief, rather that's needing credit repair, legal services, but most importantly is living benefits. People are not prepared for long-term and short-term care. Making sure that they have that in place can be the difference between bankruptcy and a peaceful retirement, peaceful, senior life for a lot of people. And one of the best ways to do that is to do it as a term writer on young people and get it before you need it. Couple of things to keep in mind with marketing is the same thing, when you're talking about the top of the funnel. So when you're running marketing campaigns, if you cast a smaller net, which means you design it, you said, hey, I only want to put this in front of people who make 50K plus a year, who live in this neighborhood, who have a college education, so on and so forth, it's going to get more and more expensive. Yes. However, that smaller net also means you're going to have higher quality leads. So I liken this to fitting a square peg in a round hole. Sometimes you just need to find what your square is. People always say the riches are in the niches. I don't believe that. I believe there's a pyramid of success. Like I said, you build that base pyramid with things that you could always rely on. Your next is the things you get lucky, and then you've got your rare unicorns at the top. But find your square. Maybe you just want to focus on IULs. Maybe you just want to focus on infinite banking concept. Maybe you just want to focus on mortgage loan protection, but you need to be able to offer those other things. Your base can be what you want to do, what you're passionate about. When I started my company, our logo is an infinity sign. I wanted to do infinite banking. I had no idea that I would say 90% of everything we do is replacing Primerica policies and mortgage loan protection because we partner with mortgage loan officers. Like, not a joke. I feel like an idiot for that, but that was it's what brought me in. I was passionate about helping people protect their money through infinite banking and learning about infinite banking. Sometimes, life takes you in a different direction than what you think it's going to. But if you find your square, you could be that square, but you still have to be able to offer, the circle and the rectangle too. But there's nothing wrong positioning yourself as an expert. And you can also co-position and partner with other agents who are experts in those fields. Just like I said about, if you don't want to learn annuities, you're not confident in annuities, go partner with Tracy Lounsbury. He runs Annuity Giants. He knows what he's doing. He's never going to steer you wrong. I trust Tracy, with a lot of business, quite frankly. I'm still learning annuities on my own. I'm not the end all be all. I'm not the smartest guy in this industry. I'm just telling you what's worked for me. Because again, there's a lot of different ways to skin a cat. But same thing, if your upline is telling you this is the only thing you need to do, or your company tells you everybody fits in this square peg, they don't. They never do. Everybody's situation is different. Our goals are different. Our situations, what we're looking to achieve, what we have as savings, what we have available to us, all those things are different. And again, it comes down to, a lot of time, it's product knowledge, and the best way to learn products is to get out in the field. So when you're doing targeting for these ads for the top of your sales funnel, some of the things you don't want to forget are exclusions. You can exclude people. So I could run a targeted ad campaign for, let's say, I'm doing something for infinite banking. I might exclude people who like Primerica. I used to work at a company that I'm no longer a fan of, but I recognize that they have office hours every week. I dropped a pin on the offices of their company and ran recruitment ads to people who'd left their office in the last 24 hours. They were at that location in the last 24 hours. They got an ad from me, and that's how I recruited most of my team. And then demographic data. And again, when you just click boost this post, they give you a very limited scope of what you could target, which is why you need to go to business.facebook.com, make a new account there. It is an entirely new account. But here is a list. This is as updated as 2018, so it's actually even more, of all the demographics that you could target. So you could target people by their education level, their perceived income, because I'm going to tell you, I don't know where they get these income levels sometimes. So it's not guaranteed, but their perceived income. I guess people who dream and look at Bentleys, they think they, make more money than they do. Their net worth, their liquid assets, again, these are all kind of estimated. It's not like anybody's reported those to Facebook personally, but they get their data from a million different sources. First-time home buyers, homeowners, renters, people who live in apartments, condos. You can go by their home value. New parents are a great one for mortgage protection. Great one for infinite banking concept. Life events. People who, are newly engaged in the last year are definitely looking at buying a home if they're not already in one. People going through a divorce, asset protection. People who are newly engaged also really ought to look at asset protection. You could exclude insurance agents, for God's sakes. Don't run ads to other insurance agents unless you're like me, targeting Primerica agents on purpose. It's a waste of money. They're not going to come buy off you. So go into business and finance, find insurance, exclude it. Seriously, I mean, that's the easiest way of flushing money down a toilet, is running ads to other insurance agents. Recruiting, focus on people in entrepreneurship. I know people who run ads to nurses for healthcare. So, I mean, it really just depends on what you're really, really looking to do. And what your target is at the bottom of your funnel. So you should start. That's how I always start, is what's my goal? And that's the bottom of my funnel. And then how do I make them interested in it is the top of my funnel. What can I do to drive these people in? And then in between, I will design my target market from that. You could target people who've recently been to high-end restaurants with infinite banking stuff. It's always a great idea, in my opinion, because those are people who have the money to do it. You could target people looking for debt relief and teach them debt-free life programs instead of going through debt consolidation. Again, you have to know how to do a debt-free life program, but it's a win-win situation. And again, these links in this whole video, you guys are going to get a copy of it, so you'll always have these links to come back to. You could, looking at financial, highly likely investors, people looking at real estate investments. These are all things that you can't do if you just clicked boost that post. You have to go to business.facebook.com. Job role, financial professionals, exclude them. They're not coming to you. They think they know it all already. If you want to target small business owners, the best way to do it is target people who run Facebook pages, by the way. Not actually small business owners. Target people who own and run Facebook pages. And these all work between Facebook and Instagram. By the way, business travelers, people who go on vacation offering frequent flyers, those people have money. They have money. They need insurance. They're at a higher risk of dying. They know it. They plan well. Great targets. And then what I call the cool close. So I've mentioned a couple of awesome products that we have that I'm launching to the group that nobody knew about before this training. Rather that be our review system, our leads that we're going to start offering, our overstock leads. So I've partnered with some of the biggest names in the industry for overstock leads, our T65 leads that we're selling for $1/4 a lead, our own digital marketing platform. You guys are getting 50% off all those services. The marketing incentives that allow you to offer people free restaurant gift cards for doing financial needs analysis with you. Vacation incentives, those top of the interest target markets, all those things, you guys are getting a 50% off discount code for signing up for this training, because I want to invest in the people who are willing to invest in themselves. Period, point blank. You guys are very rare, and I want you to know that you're appreciated. And I hope that you guys found some great value in this. And what you should understand by now is, how to get organic leads from Google, from using those review systems, from positioning yourself with a good Facebook brand image, and being there so people find you via SEO, search engine optimization, how to make sales funnels and how those work, and then how to do your own lead campaigns and not go to our quote unquote vetted vendors and spend money when you can do it for yourself. And if you don't want to do it for yourself, seriously speaking, or you're struggling, don't ever hesitate to hit me up. Again, digital marketing was actually my passion. I mean, it's what I did. I got screwed when we got acquired by Facebook, but I'm really good at it. And I'm really passionate about it. I'm very, very passionate about helping other people. I hope you guys know that. I know I come off like an asshole in the group, but I gotta tell you, like I said, I am the definition of I'm tired, man. I deal with people lying in that group all day and having to fact check them and so on and so forth. And you guys kind of see the tip of the iceberg. You don't see what goes on with them in messages where I'm telling them, hey, you can't lie about this. And, them trying to argue with me that they're not lying, so on and so forth. I'm really trying to restore integrity to this industry. And it's really hard to do in a group of 86,000 active insurance agents. Remember, I grew up in a town of 30,000 people. So I'm not some big city boy. That group is 3 times the size of my hometown. Like it's a lot of things to manage. And there are a lot of bad people in this industry, unfortunately. And it seems like some of them don't get called out for it. And I have no problem making enemies, because I would rather make enemies with the people who don't deserve to be, leaders. And I don't care if they got 1,500 agents under them that want to come after me, because none of those people are making money. None of them. I mean, I think I just showed you guys what I consider a simple way to make 7 figures a year on your own pen. Anybody, I mean, show of hands, but is there anybody out here who does not think they could find one annuity rollover a month if they reached out to 500 people? Because if you're raising your hand right now, I got to tell you, we need to talk, because I got to try to figure out why you're not flipping burgers. And that's no disrespect to people who flip burgers, because I actually think they have more ambition than somebody who tells me if I reach out to 500 people, I don't think I could find one person that would trust me that this is the best product for them. If you don't think you could have a 0.002% success rate, you have no business being an entrepreneur. But if you want to run your own ads, you want me to look at your ad, you want me to look at your targeting before you run the ad, you started running the ad, you're not happy with results, don't ever hesitate to hit me up. But I'll say this, don't you dare go running a Facebook ad for $20 a day and then coming back and saying, oh, I'm not seeing results. Listen, if you don't have $100 a day to run Facebook ads, don't do it. Focus on your personal branding, start messaging all your contacts, go through your warm market to make that money, and then focus on that. You'd be better off to spend $10 a month on a living insured page. And honestly, if you really only have $10 a day, do the $250 a month living insured page. If we have 500, so I have like 600 regions there, and I think 5 of them are sold. 5. So people think, oh, there's so many big wigs in this industry. I got to tell you, y'all are paying people to do trainings. And I've seen people charging hundreds of dollars for trainings, and their $250 a month check is bouncing for living insured pages. We had like 15. I've had like 10 people that their checks were bouncing. And they're some of the biggest names that you guys think of when you look at that group. So be very careful who you're trusting. But it's less than $10 a day to do that. But if we got all 600, and that's why I built it, was the idea of as a group, we could do more together. So if we have 600 regions that are spending $250 a month, that's over $1 million a year that I'm putting into running these ads. And I know how to run the ads to get leads for you. You'd be so much better off to spend $10 a day and do a $250 a month program there than to try to ever, I mean, you are just flushing money down a toilet if you don't have, I'd say at a bare minimum, $50 a day to run on Facebook ads to get started. Minimum. ramp it up as you see success. But if you don't have that set aside, then you need to do what you need to do to get through a warm market. Everybody has a warm market. I never want to hear the excuse, I burnt through my warm market already. There's always a warm market. Always. You can't deposit excuses, and I'm not going to let you deposit them with me. So that was it, is that you guys can always come to me to review your funnels, your ads, whatever you need. And then a couple of things. So I showed you business.facebook.com instead of using your thing. If you don't already have a living insured page, do it. They're literally free. My company, my print shop, we are cheaper than Vistaprint. In fact, at one time we were known as cheaper than Vistaprint.com. As you can imagine, they tried to sue me and I got it thrown out because not one single item could they prove that they were not cheaper than me on. So it was a fair comparison, fair use contract according to the courts. We have a press release system. If you guys are doing anything, you're opening a new agency, opening a new office, you hit a new goalpost, whatever. If you build your own website, I highly recommend doing this because it'll provide search engine optimization backlinks for those keywords. So if you're trying to be found in a community that you're not necessarily a huge presence in, this is the way to do it. You're going to build a website, shop.bigvoicedomains.com is partnered with GoDaddy. We're cheaper than GoDaddy. If you're going to build a website by next week, insurancefunnelsites.com will be up. We will have pre-made funnels for you, including everything that you've seen here. So you will have the Primerica funnel, life insurance funnel, final expense funnel, pre-made templates for social media marketing, all of that right in Insurance Funnel Sites. So you could have your own website, funnels pre-made, marketing stuff pre-made, and then you can edit it however you'd like. And then our insurance lead companies are coming out, and then sales marketing incentives. So if you want to be able to offer, I love my top of my funnel of, we'll give you $100 restaurant gift card if you sit with us for a financial needs analysis. Yes. Do we get a lot of people who just want some free shit? Sure. But I also get a ton of financial needs analysis done. And you can always find something if you're doing that the right way. And how do I make this big again? I'm not quite sure how to get back into my Zoom here, guys.
Stop sharing screen.
And how do I do that?
I think you need to go to your view options and you might be able to see your screen again in the top. That's where I can see it at.
The sharing screen is all, or unsharing is usually green.
All right, what is it? Meetings.
Usually it's the sharing screen button, or from my end, it says you are viewing Cornerstone's Capital screen, and I can click that and I can see either the videos of everyone, or I can go to seeing your recording or your screen share from there.
He is a host, so he will be having different view of the page.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why it was popping up before, but I'm in the meeting. I don't need to join anything.
Can you alt tab to it?
Yeah, I don't mind that I've got 5 million things on my screen at all times. There we go. And there we go. We're back.
There you go.
All right. So that being said, I hope you guys found a lot of value in this, took a lot of things to take away. And that being said, do we have any questions, anything else
I have a question if I can ask.
Absolutely.
So are you not fond of the old insurance company, not your old insurance company, the old lead companies or vendors that you used to use, such as you said you don't like TTC leads anymore? So is Happy Agents out then too, or are you?
So Happy Agents is okay. TTC was never one of our preferred or vetted vendors. They're the reason why we created vetted vendors. I had bought leads from them myself and saw the bait and switch, and I said there has to be a better way. So when I took over the group, I specifically said I don't want people buying leads from companies like this. Like I looked at other companies. So there's a perfect example. If I buy leads from Happy Agent leads, people know they were inquiring about life insurance. And they're the exact same cost, sometimes cheaper, and especially with our exclusive discount cheaper than going to TTC, where people thought they were getting a free government death benefit so that they could stop paying on life insurance. That was my my big push for putting vetting standards in place. So
Sorry, so outside of, I was gonna say then, so outside of, because TTC obviously is a hated one then, so would you recommend
they're
Happy?
far from the only ones who do that bait and switch crap, though. Very.
I've heard of, I want to try to stay away from that, and I haven't even tried any lead vendors yet, but I know that's a part of your business you should start kind of investing in as well. And I would like to try somewhere for leads, but I haven't got myself.
I'll say this. So if you're going to go to a lead vendor, you're going to spend about $500, like minimum order quantity.
Yes.
Our aged leads, I think at last look, they're about $2 or $3 a lead. It's the same leads that they get. They're just 30 days old. And I'm going to say this. It doesn't matter if they're 30 days old or 3 days old. If you did not get them and strike when the fire was hot, you're going to have just as much chance of success.
Yeah.
You're better off to spend that money and buy 150 aged leads, in my personal opinion, than to spend that money and buy 20 new leads. Because if you buy 20 new leads at $30 a lead, that's $600.
Hmm.
Out of 20 leads, you're going to be lucky to get 10 of them on a phone. You're going to be lucky to get 5 of them to actually go through a thing with you, and you're going to be lucky to make a sale of 2. 2 out of 20, 10% closing rate.
So just get those age leads would probably be better then, and then use that as some names to reach out to throughout your week, because you shouldn't be depending on leads in general. You should only be having it help your business, and you shouldn't be depending on leads.
Correct. I'll always start with your warm market, in my opinion. I would always start with the warm market and with personal branding and getting those leads coming to you. And then Michael brought up that the websites go to defunct websites, and that's 100%. I'm not launching any of these websites until after this training. You guys were getting the first run of the announcement that these things are happening. You're getting first access, and I wanted you guys to have first knowledge because you're the people who are willing to invest in yourselves. And I just, it's sad, but that is so rare, and I think you deserve to be rewarded for that, not just financially, but as a leader of that group. I think you guys deserved, to have first access, to have large discounts for it, because it is amazing to me to just be able to get 100 people together who want to make a better life for themselves. I'm loving every second of this, honestly.
I don't know if this is the place to actually ask this question, but I am curious about the living insured, the $250 price for the top tier. So have you guys started the marketing with that? Because I have a couple of them, but I wasn't sure if there's already marketing or advertising done for it.
They are, but they're slow, because the reason is the marketing was set nationwide instead of just to the regions that have been filled out. So it's hard because we've got, like I said, maybe 10 regions sold. $2,500 a month in marketing going nationwide doesn't do a lot. We need more people to see the value in this, which is partially my fault. I'm going to do some more trainings, live videos in the group to try to explain to people how powerful this can be, because again, we've got, 600 regions to fill out. And its structure is a nonprofit, but that's $150,000 a month in ad spend if we actually got all of those filled out. $2,500 a month does not do shit across the United States.
Right.
Um,
So are you guys making that transition to just focus on the areas that have been sold?
Well, I'm debating between that, and I'm not gonna bullshit you. I'm honestly debating on giving up on the entire thing if I can't get enough people to invest in themselves.
Okay.
Sometimes I feel like giving up on the entire industry because I can't get enough people to invest in themselves.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the deciding factor, really, is I'm gonna give it a couple months. I'm gonna do some more trainings and try to teach people and explain it to people. And if they're not willing to do it, then I'm going to either give up on it, or I'm going to give those regions to people who work in my downlines for free, because I invest way more than that in them. They get free leads. They get all these resources for free from me. So we might just take over Living Insured and scrap it, and those will become my Cornerstone Capital agents getting regions.
And do you think that,
Outside of the people who've already bought them, I'm saying. So if you already bought them, you'd be grandfathered in. The rest of the regions, I'm going to find somebody who'll work for me and I'll pay for it.
okay, thank you.
Hey, Brandon, would you mind speaking to the new compliance laws with regard to leads? How can we make sure that we're in compliance with these new rules and regulations that are coming out?
Okay, so, the big thing about that is, number one, it hasn't gone into effect yet, and I think it's going to be revised before it does. Even if it goes through the way that it is written, it really only applies to people using robo-dialers, which I'm just old school, and I say avoid that risk in the first place. I can tell you, one of the biggest names in the industry who had a little spat with me and ended up getting kicked out of the group over it, somebody else dug up that they were in a TCPA compliance class action lawsuit. Never even worth taking that risk. And I love that that guy is charging $2,500 for a training to teach you how to run leads, and selling his robo-dialer to you, the very same robo-dialer that has got him in a class action lawsuit. So again, being very aware of why I am so strict on the standards of people that we promote and our vetting of these vendors, and who's allowed to lie or who's allowed to claim that they make 7 figures a year, and people who will literally take a screenshot of their calculator and pretend like that's the revenue they made last week. That's why. I would say don't touch robo-dialers. I learned that years ago when I worked in politics, because we did polling, and the way robo-dialers work is it'll dial 10 numbers, and whoever answers first is who it connects you to. But what happens if 2 or 3 people answered, you've actually just pissed those other 2 off. In my opinion, they're an absolute nuisance on both ends. And that's why the TCPA compliance issues are coming down. So long as you're taking these leads and you are dialing them one-on-one, all the leads that I have form IDs that they actually filled out to prove that they requested that information. I will not touch that unless you're buying T65s. Those are cold. Their data lists of people who are turning 65 sometime soon. Those are people that you need to get in front of, and they're the hardest leads to work necessarily, unless you do like I said and focus on teaching to 100, 500 of them. Send a mailer to 500 people and try to get 50 of them in a room and give that presentation at one time. Webinars are the cheapest way to do it. Middle of the road, but also looks way more professional, in my opinion, is joining your Chamber of Commerce. And then the most expensive but most professional thing you can do is taking them to a country club and doing hors d'oeuvres. Either way, if you send a mailer to 500 people, you make them RSVP, you get 50 of them in a room, I'm sure that you're going to find 5 rollovers. if that was 500, $2 million average rollover, retirement rollovers, and you're getting 6% on that, you just had $1 million day. $1 million day. It's going to take you 2 or 3 months to close all those deals, but nobody in their right mind is ever going to feel bad for you. And that's why I call it, my 7-figure strategy. And it's not hard. I don't think this is hard. I think they're difficult products for people to understand because so many places don't teach to them, because so many places focus on the quick buck and the quick sale and focus on recruiting instead of actually focusing on product knowledge. I think that's one of the biggest failures of this industry, is that these companies are designed to make their agents fail, and they don't invest enough in those agents in the first place.
Brandon, can you please show us how to set up the chat bot?
Yes. So when it comes to chatbots, there's a couple of different companies that I would recommend. I'll share some links in the group. They are definitely very difficult to set up. There's a learning curve with that. We do have a paid program that we will teach, or that we'll set those up for you. I'm not quite sure what that partnership looks like yet as far as a final number, but I'll have it done tonight. Actually, I have a call with them at 9 o'clock Eastern. So by tomorrow, and you guys are all in the Telegram group. So that's a beautiful thing, is I'm going to post, these links will be in the Telegram group. The replay video will be in the Telegram group. You guys will always have a certain level of access to me that I think you deserve, because you're the people I want to lean into, because I finally found the people who are willing to invest in themselves out of that group. So when I get some setups, and I'll do some instructional videos, I'll make sure to put those in the group for you. Yes. So don't think that just because we're done on this seminar that, that Telegram group should be a resource for you guys. All right, guys, we have anything else?
Brandon, did you get a chance to check to see if the form for Living Insured went through? Because it keeps asking me to enter the information again.
So that's every time you log in, that form is at the top of the page. That's something that my assistant, who's also a web designer, is going to be fixing, so people can find their way around Living Insured a little bit better. It's definitely gone through. For a lot of people, I've probably gotten it 5 or 6 times. But yeah, and that's the thing is, there need to be, it needs to be simplified. So when you log in, it says, okay, here's the form to fill out for this. Here's our discounts. And like I said, we've got, 5 or 6 new discount partners that are going to be announced to that group, but I wanted you guys to have first access to them, because you're also going to get a 50% off discount with them. So I would appreciate if you guys keep that in our Telegram group and don't go sharing it with everybody outside the group, because quite frankly, if they weren't willing to invest in themselves, they don't deserve it. That's the way.
So the things that you were mentioning today that you were going to teach us more in depth, are you going to be scheduling some specific trainings to go over those hands-on, like the Facebook ads and the chat boxes and all these other things that you mentioned today?
Absolutely. So we'll do a full setup, and then I'm going to do, if you ever want to schedule a one-on-one when you're ready to set up your campaigns, now that you've seen the simplified, process, don't hesitate to reach out to me. We'll schedule one-on-one. I will help you personally set up your campaigns. As long as I wanted to set a realistic expectation, because so many people come and they're like, oh, I'm running $10 a day worth of Facebook ads and I'm not rich yet. But if you come to me and you say, hey, I've got $100 a day I'm willing to spend, or better yet, that's the term, better to invest in myself, I will happily set up a one-to-one and help you guys set up those campaigns anytime.
All right, thank you.
Hunter, I appreciate the comment. I would absolutely love if some of you guys went back in the group and said things along those lines too, so people know, because I gotta tell you, sometimes the pushback I get, maybe I'm just a little sensitive. I'm definitely an empath. But I don't think people realize how much value I've actually brought to that group with the discounts and the integrity that we've restored. You
So
know,
Brandon,
but I'm glad you guys saw great value out of this.
Yeah,
hey, Brandon.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the living insurance page again, do we have to submit that form every time we're gonna log in?
No, not
Because-
at all. Yeah, not at all. It just automatically reverts back to that, and that's something that we need to fix.
So how do I get around that? Because I was able to log in the first time.
Yeah,
when I
as soon as you log in, if you just scroll right down past it, you'll find the links and all that, but we're gonna fix that by this weekend. But so
Okay.
I've got that on my schedule to do. Friday is gonna be the living insured page day.
Okay, sounds good, thanks.
And I've,
Brandon,
I'm sorry.
I just wanted to ask, what would be a way for us to reach out to you to maybe do like a small little one-on-one, like you said, because I'd be interested in running digital marketing ideas back and forth to make sure I'm doing the right things with my ads and such.
Yep. So reach out to me personally via Facebook message. I've gotten a lot better about finding my spam folder lately. A lot of people end up in there, but I just hired a new assistant who's kind of coming into her own, which means I've got a lot more time to dedicate to both my insurance team and, you know, to you guys in the group. So that's a really, really nice thing. I'm also planning on hiring somebody just to help with these lead generations so that it's not all me. So yeah, reach out to me via Facebook message is going to be the easiest way. Anybody else? I will make sure also that you guys get I have a separate phone that's a business only phone. I'll make sure you guys get my personal number in the Telegram group. So you guys can always text me. If I'm not responding to Facebook messages for some reason, definitely text me is the best way. I check that religiously. But sometimes the Facebook messages definitely get sent to another folder. As you can imagine, you know, I get a ton of messages, not just from that group, but I still get the spam messages and the people who want to sell me leads from Kenya every day too. I'm in other insurance groups and I get a lot of spam from them. So, like I said, I'll make sure you guys get my personal cell phone number in the Telegram group. Just don't share it with the whole world. That's all I ask. I think a lot of people on here actually already have my phone number, but so Paul, it was asking, so you can partner with Tracy and he will split commissions with you. It goes on volume. I can't speak to what his starting percentage is, but the more business you send him, the better your commission will get. I do know that he's very fair about it. Obviously, my recommendation would be to lean in and learn so that you can write those annuities by yourself and not split commissions. But the beautiful thing about what Tracy does is he'll teach you and help you sell them while you're learning. And sometimes that's the best way to learn. He is a great resource for annuities. Absolutely great. There are some, and that's the next phase of what we're going to do in the group is actually positioning industry experts that have been vetted on what they're good at. So we'll position, you know, David Andrews' team and Brian Jarrell for IULs and Tracy with annuities and Carson. We're going to start positioning the people who really deserve to be positioned as experts in the industry. You know, David Duford for Final Expense. You know, those are the couple that come to mind, but I know there's a lot. We have some, like, we have a lot of silent major players in the industry in that group. Same thing with having Brian Carruthers run our Legal Shield program from the group. People realize he's the biggest guy at that company, but I followed him as an entrepreneur long before I ever knew what company he was affiliated with. Guy does $17 million a year in an MLM. I mean, great resource to learn from, whether you're using it or not.
Cool.
But yeah,
Appreciate that. That's what I'm
Tracy
looking for
has
in the
his own
annuity
group
space.
as well. It's called Annuity Giants. So again, I personally believe that annuities and retirement protection is the way to make $1 million a year on your own pen. There's plenty of ways to do it, but hey, if you want to recruit 1,500 people who make $104 a month average to make $1 million a year, by all means. By all means. I believe in working smarter and not harder. And be honest with you, but the beautiful thing about this is a lot of times you're going to guarantee them more money every month from their retirement. You're going to guarantee that they can never lose their retirement. You're going to guarantee that they can never run out of their retirement. You're doing God's work and getting paid handsomely for it. That's the way I look at it. But again, if you're not confident in annuities, you don't have annuity contracts, whatnot, partnering with Tracy would be the way to go. If you want to find new annuity contracts, I still offer, we haven't really launched our sorting hat, but I will offer to sit with anybody that wants recommendations on what would suit them business-wise best, because I'm not somebody who drank Kool-Aid ever. I trained at a couple of Kool-Aid agencies over the years, but I've never drank the Kool-Aid. I don't believe there is a best company in this industry, including mine. I believe in what's best for you. Everybody's got a different vision, a different idea of what they want out of their life, how to do it. Everybody's got a different level of self-determination, of how much training and hand-holding you need, how many resources you need, if you're going to watch training videos or if you want hands-on training. Everybody's different. What type of leads you want to work. But like I said, I've gotten to see all these companies from the inside out. So I'm really good about telling you what's best for you at no personal interest to me. Obviously, if I could put you on my team somewhere, I would be happy to. But if I don't think it's a good fit, I send people to other companies all the time. I send people to other companies more often than I tell them to come work with me. 100%. Anybody who knows me will tell you Brandon has sent me agents at other companies that I have no affiliation with whatsoever. The only companies I stay away from are FFL, Symmetry, and Primerica. Outside of that, I'm pretty fair about seeing the good, the bad, the ugly of all of them. And I'll tell you what's best for you. All right, guys, we all good?
Quick question about the housekeeping of the Facebook group. On the insurance jobs, I got banned for like, I don't know, a couple of days or something because I commented on a
suspended?
post and I got suspended. When you say about posting what company you are from, if I don't belong to any companies like those agencies that you mentioned or any of those
on everything, just say I'm totally independent. Or
okay, so you just need to say independent.
Yep, something along those lines. We wanted to make it the most transparent. That way people aren't wasting their time. For instance, if you have a preconceived notion that you have no interest in working with, we'll say a builder's contract model, so GFI or WFG, you already know that. I'm not going to waste 2 hours conversing with somebody before they tell me what the name of their company. Because that's what people always try to do is, oh, I've got a great company, a great upline, a great this. I've got the best. Well, let me tell you, nobody's got the best of everything. Nobody. It's impossible. Otherwise, there'd only be one company in the industry. And most of the time, the people who think they have the best, they don't even make up 1% of this industry. So you can't tell me you've got the best of anything. So that was the idea, is on every comment, every post you make in the group for the jobs page for recruiting, we want people to know who they're talking to and where they're at. That way, so if you're at GFI, you're at Symmetry, you're at WFG, you're a Cornerstone, you're at Experior, wherever it might be, people don't waste their time if they've already got a preconceived notion. Because let me tell you, once people decide something's not for them, you're better off not waste your time and try to change their mind. It's like arguing with somebody that has a totally different belief system than you do. Listen, you go to your church on Sunday, I'll go to mine. I don't have to try to convert you. As long as you're a good person and you're trying to do what's right for people, I'm good with it. Unless your religion directly contradicts you know, and that's the way I liken what we are. We are all, you know, separate religions that all have the same ultimate goal in this industry, except for there's a couple that I would liken to Satanism. But like seriously speaking, whether you're Muslim, Jewish, or Christian, they're all Abrahamic religions that you all believe in the same God. So whether you're on a builder's contract, you're on a producer's contract, or you're somewhere in the middle, we're all just trying to sell insurance and help people the best way we know how. We're all facing the same God. We're all trying to get to the same promised land. We just have a different belief system and how we go about it. And I think that's the best comparison you can make. And then there's Primerica that's trying to take everybody to hell. And I can't wait to see the lawsuit I get for this video. But seriously
So I
speaking,
think it would be better for me to just join the jobs one under my business Facebook page. That way my agency name would be on it and I
you
don't
could
have to
do that.
clarify
That would
myself.
actually be much preferred.
All right, good enough. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Brandon, I have one last question. I'll try to let you convert me because I am newer in the industry. I've only been here 8 months, but I don't like to drink the Kool-Aid wherever I go. So I am an agent, but I do think that a broker is the real way to be doing this. My plan is to maybe do what I'm doing as an agent, get my pension and learn as much as I can so that I can be a better broker, be able to help in any way that I can. But is it hard to do a switch later after being in the industry? Or is it easier to jump in the beginning, hop right into being a broker, or what would you say?
It all comes down to, in my opinion, depends on where you're at and how difficult they're going to make it for you. If you're at a company where if you leave, you have a non-compete that they're going to try to enforce, it's going to make it harder for you. If you're at a company that you don't own your book of business and every day that you go to work right now, it's another weight on the chain that's going to hold you there, because it takes a big risk to become an entrepreneur. It does. And if you're an agent in a lot of places, you've got, you know, their branding, their marketing. There is an incentive to why people are captive agents. You limit your income potential on one side, but you also guarantee your income potential on the bottom side if you've got a fixed salary plus your commission. So sometimes, you know, you have to weigh what's best for you, what's best for your family, what's best for your personal needs. But if they own your book, it's going to be hard to walk away from that. And that's why I try to tell people from the very beginning, don't ever, you know, don't hitch your horse where you're not planning on living. It's a very difficult thing to walk away from, because all that hard work that you've done, and make no mistake, whether you're making 5 sales a day or 5 sales a year, you're putting in work. And you don't want to leave that residual income, because in my opinion, and a big part for me of why I got into this industry is that residual income is how you get rich. I liken it to this. I told somebody when I said, if I could open a pizza shop, if I'm looking at 2 franchises and you say, hey, you could buy Pizza Hut, you're going to own the land, you're going to own the restaurant, you're going to do this, and you're going to sell pizzas for $10, whatever. And if you want to up your prices, you could up your prices. You can compete with every other pizza shop in town. Or you offer me a franchise that says, hey, you're going to sell that pizza for $10 a pizza, but our corporation is going to give you $1 a year for every year that that guy eats pizza. I'm taking that option all day, every day. All day, every day. And that's what we have here with residual income. But if you don't own your book and you have to give up those residuals, now you're starting that residual all over again. And that is the base pyramid of how people get to a very comfortable living in this industry. Is that residual income that, you know, I've got 10, 12, 15% of everything I did last year coming in. So if you did, you know, even if your residuals are 7%, whatever they might be, depending on, obviously it depends on your product and so on and so forth, the carrier, everything. But no matter what, that residual income, you're outpacing inflation. That's for sure. Every earning statement that you made, you're now outpacing inflation. this is a industry that was designed to make people rich like no other industry in the world. And that's why it frustrates me so much that 90% of people will fail in it. Leslie, what's up?
Hey, I have 2 questions and a comment. First question is, do you have any recommendations on where to find trainings on like retirement products? I'm also fairly new to the industry here, and I think that's one of the places I want to focus because I live in an area where it's like a lot of military and a lot of people retiring.
So what do you mean by retirement products? Are you talking investments, 401k, IRA, or are you talking about retirement rollovers with annuity products?
Rollovers.
Like I said, learning annuities is going to be your best bet. Number one, getting with your contractors or getting your contracts done, and then learning the products that you have access to is going to be key. So many people do not do, and I don't care where you're at, but go to your company trainings. They offer them every day. I don't care what IMO you're at. Go to the Transamerica New Product Trainings, Mutual of Omaha. Go through those trainings first and get your base knowledge from them. But I do recommend Annuity Giants with Tracy if you really just want to learn annuities. I mean, Tracy is a trust partner for me. Frankly, I've gone to him for advice many a time. Hate to recruit people to another group, but I'm telling you, he knows his stuff very well.
Perfect. I'll definitely look him up. Definitely looking up. The second question was, I had posted and it was actually removed. Someone had asked about the best way to study for a test, and I live in Texas, so I had posted to take the test, like the quizzes over and over again, and you deleted it. Is that not allowed?
If you commented under something else, it might have gotten deleted simply because of whatever it was under.
Oh, okay. I'm like, I'm trying to help.
That would be my advice: is take that test until you're scoring a 90, and then go rock it out. Because the more you take that practice test, I had given the exact same advice. So I can tell you, it was probably under somebody sending an outside link or something of that sort.
Oh yeah.
And the other thing that people don't realize, there's an auto mod software that Facebook has. So if you use certain keywords and stuff, it automatically takes care of stuff for me. And then I get people in my inbox all the time. I'm like, yeah, the auto mod got that. Like, sorry, but it doesn't differentiate. If you use the word DM me or what, it does not differentiate the way I would, where it says, okay, like,
right,
you've gotten to a point in conversation where you're dealing with personally identifiable information. You need to move over to a personal message. That the auto mod doesn't necessarily, but it catches outside links. Also, I check it every couple hours. It detects a lot of things as spam that aren't necessarily spam. So you'll notice once in a while that 4 or 5 posts get like reposted back to the group. That's because the auto mod doesn't, or the auto mod catches them. But if I didn't have the auto mod on, we probably have about 400 posts a day that it catches that are people just trying to solicit to the group, people who are posting to recruit to the group. And I'm pretty lenient when, they're new people, so they haven't found their way around the rules yet. That I'll give them a couple warnings, but I've definitely and it shows me how many warnings they've gotten in the last 90 days. It takes about 20 warnings before I'll kick somebody out of the group, because if they haven't learned by that point, I'm done.
Right. And my comment was, sorry.
Bro. I'm like, I look at somebody with like 15 warnings. I'm just like, oh, I'm tired, bro.
And my last thing was a comment. Thanks for clarifying your personality at the beginning of this, because I think it was probably like a week and a half ago, you had posted something. I'm like, hold on, I got to talk to him on the DM. So thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, no, I, it's like, I don't try to be, but sometimes I feel like a parent. You got to be a strong parent with kids. Otherwise they're going to grow up to not have any discipline. And that group, when I took it over, it was the Wild Wild West. It went from being run by a company that was only promoting it in their own self-interest to being run by somebody who was only promoting their marketing that they didn't know how to do. I'm not shitting you. I got kicked out. That's how I ended up buying the group. But I was kicked out because they were showing screenshots of their marketing campaign and bragging about it. And 100 people were coming like, oh, you know, DM me about running Facebook ads for them. And I'm like, you have a 2% conversion rate, 2%. My grandmother, who doesn't know how to use a VCR, could get on Facebook today and figure out how to run Facebook ads and get better than a 2% conversion rate on a lead ad campaign. I'm sure of that because she could use a typewriter, for God's sakes. And you're out here bragging and trying to charge people money. But, you know, I might come on a little bit strong sometimes, but I couldn't stand watching people get scammed like that. And that's all that is. If somebody has a 2% conversion rate and they're trying to charge people, that's called scamming. So Maya, question with the Legal Shield. So yes, if you take advancing, you always run a risk of chargebacks anywhere. At Legal Shield, chargebacks never come out of your bank account. They only come off the money that you would earn going forward. And if you're not earning money going forward, Legal Shield eats it. If you drop below a 65% persistency, you are not eligible for the promotions and the bonus incentives and the vacation trips. I could tell you Legal Shield, I've done very well with it. I've sold 21 policies in the last week. It's a great ancillary product because everybody that I sell insurance to probably needs something that they have to offer.
Is it still too
I'm sorry.
late to take advantage of the opportunity that you were offering? Is it too late to take advantage
Never. So our first
of the
50 people
opportunity
were
that you were
signed up.
offering with?
So what we're doing is as people sign up now, you're going to be placed under one of those original 50. And as the next 50 comes in, we're going to build deep. And by doing so, we're benefiting everybody up and down the line. So you'll have more and more residuals. I'm building this in a different way. Same thing. So if you joined Legal Shield through an IMO, you typically aren't eligible for bonuses and for overrides and for a lot of their incentives versus the way we did it. You get overrides, the incentives, so on and so forth. But if you join at Primerica, you can never advance and they keep your residuals. And again, residual income is how you get rich in this industry. So we are structured that way because I want to put people under people so you get overrides off of them. So it's never too late to do it. You're just not going to be in that first 50, which means you're going to be under somebody else that was in that first 50 now. But then when the next 50 come in, we'll put people under you. So yeah, it's never too late.
Okay, thank you.
George, Jorge. So which way is it pronounced, bud?
Oh, I told Brian earlier too. It doesn't matter because I mean
I know it doesn't matter. But that's like
Ah.
saying Kovac and Kovac. I don't care. I'm used to it both ways, but there is a right way to do it.
Well, it's Jorge, but like I said, I'm used to George too, so it's fine. I just want to say thanks, man, because I was on the Legal Shield meeting earlier, and Brian is very insightful, so I like that. And then having to invest, you know, the $100 here was definitely worth it.
I'm really glad you guys feel you got, you know, your money out of it.
No, for sure. And then definitely when you're talking about your attitude, like I think when I would see you on the Facebook group, I'm like, damn, this guy's kind of like. But I think in the last couple of weeks, like I've got to know you a bit, and I
You
really
know what?
appreciate
The other thing that it comes down to though is sometimes people can't always tell when you're joking, when you're messing with it. It's like I firmly believe that texting is the biggest cause of divorce in America.
True.
Like it used to be money, but I'm telling you, it's conversation. I can't tell you how many times like I tell my girlfriend like we need to stop texting about stuff because you can't you know
Can't really read
you
your
put LOL at the end of it or not. It doesn't resonate that way in my head, you know.
The question I had was so if the ads are too costly, like in regards to like, because I'm interested in the Primerica thing, you know, where you offer the gift card. So Primerica is like pretty popular in my area, and I feel like just putting it on my personal
Same
Facebook.
with mine. I live in Youngstown, Ohio. If you don't know, it's the fastest dying city in America. So I feel like they prey on areas like that.
Yeah, I'm starting to see that now. Would it be smart? I mean, like, cause I think I would have good
It's
success if I just did it in my
brilliant
personal.
because they comment on it.
Like,
Their agents will come comment on it, and their own mom will be like, "Oh, well, I want to see if I can save this money and I can get this cruise." Like, I'm not joking with you. I've literally had moms. I could hear them sound like they're smacking the kid with a purse and telling them to get out of that scam. Like, but yeah, I mean, it's worth it. And the beautiful thing is, you could always do it organically too, and and share it, and then start running ads from it. But you're gonna get people who know somebody at Primerica, and they start tagging them in it.
yeah, there you go. That's what I want. So
That's exactly it, and it's beautiful because they tag them in it. Then their friends and family that were dumb enough to buy it take one good look at that. But like I said, so it's going to be insurancefunnelsites.com, and that'll be pre-built for you there. And I think it's going to be like $29 a month for you to have that funnel pre-made. You set your email in there, you set your Calendly link in there. They can schedule with you right away.
let's do it. I like it, man. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. All right, guys, we got anything else? All right, well, I appreciate all your time. I will get this video in the Telegram as soon as it's saved to my computer. So I'll talk to you all later. And once again, if you can go in the group, sing some praises, tell some people about how much I, bring into the group, get them a little excited for some of this, would make my day for sure. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you, Brandon.
Thanks, Brandon.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Brandon.
Thanks so much.